What's going on, all you Minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, and join me today for an overview of these Fantagraphics hardcovers coming out soon. So, please stay tuned. Before getting started, a huge thank you to the folks at Fantagraphics for sending us copies of these books. Now, a couple of these are already out, and a couple of them are coming out within the next month. And I will be talking about the content, showing off the artwork of each one of these, and also talking about the ratings for some of these books, because some of these books are mature content. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll talk about Forest first. This was a beautiful read to me. I got lost in the artwork for this particular book, and you'll see what I mean here when I open it up. This reminded me of one of my favorite book. I think I've talked about it before, Prose, and I don't care what people think about it, but it is my favorite book of all time, and that is The Giving Tree. The Forest is a little bit different, though. It's a little bit darker. So for me, this particular book is geared more towards the older teen type of crowd. This is written by Thomas Ott, who also supplies the artwork. Now, it's going to be very tricky to show this because I'm only just going to show a couple of pages so you can kind of see what this is about, because there are only 25 pictures within this book. So this is To My Loves, and it starts off with a young boy at what looks to be a funeral, and he just gets away. He wants to get away from the crowd, from everyone at the funeral, so he goes into the forest. And this is the type of artwork that you're going to be seeing. I'm going to show a couple more pages. There are no words, there's no dialogue, but it's all in black and white. And oh my gosh, the heavy inks that he uses just showcases just the amount of detail. Like you can tell here, there are initials on this tree. The cross-hatching, the contrast of light and dark is absolutely stunning. And this is why it reminded me of one of my favorite books, like I said, The Giving Tree. The book only has 32 pages. It is a hardcover. This one already came out. This one came out, I believe, this week. So let's look at what exactly he is going to see in the forest. All right, we got creatures, and he is climbing through things like a normal boy does. Now, is this all in his imagination, or are these things actually real? And that's something that a lot of these books made me think. As a matter of fact, 3 of these books made me think, what exactly am I looking at? And it's been a wonderful experience. I sat down and read all 4 of these books just a couple of days ago, and I've been wanting to talk about them. And it's a little difficult to talk about them without going into spoilers or showing off a lot of the artwork. I'm going to show just a couple more pages, and that's it for this one. The one thing I want you to notice back here, I don't know if you can tell, are the eyes, the glowing eyes in the background. The boy's face right there, and the eyes are getting closer. Very beautiful, very deep. And the ending I thought was completely beautiful. The binding of this particular book is sewn binding, but you only have 32 pages. The art on the board is all you get. Here's what the spine looks like, and I'll be showing off the spines of each of the books. So there's no dust jacket. The feel of the hardcover has this soft touch to it. It reminds me of the hardcovers for Harrow County or The Goon when you take the dust jacket off. The forest itself, the logo, it's not embossed, but it does have like a more glossy finish to it than the rest of like this big tree right here, as well as Thomas Ott. My Badly Drawn Life. Now this is the one that took me a little bit longer to read than the other books. The other books, you'll see what I mean when you start opening each of these up. So here we have My Badly Drawn Life by Gippy, and the Fantagraphics logo down there. And then a little bit of the artwork that you're going to see in here. This one here is definitely mature content. So this is not for kids. It's absolutely mature just because of some of the things that are happening through here. It is only 144 pages. So let's talk about this without giving too much away. This is a really powerful read right here. And I understand the need of escapism when it comes to comics. Some people like to keep away from reality. But this is pretty real. This is a lot of the things that are happening here are happening in the main character's life. This is translated by Jamie Richards. And this is the type of artwork that you're going to find in here. It's very sketchy. It looks like the lines aren't really finished, or they continue on to part of the furniture, for example. Like you don't know where his arm ends or begins. I like that, though. It's very surreal almost. Man, you're going to be hearing me use that word a lot for this book and the next book that I'm going to be talking about. It reminds me a little bit of Jeff Lemire. So this starts off with Gippy himself. He is the main character of this particular story, and he's obsessing over this, how do I put this? This thing that he found on his member. Okay? So he found this thing on his member. He goes to a doctor, and the doctor admits that he's not a very good doctor. So he goes over to his house and just to hang out with him. So they start having a conversation. This book is chaos. Like, it is almost self-destructive, the tone of the book. You see flashbacks of him, Gippy himself, talking about a punk rock band, just mocking it. There's also talk of suicide in here. So there's a lot of strong imagery in here. There are color pages that took me by surprise whenever they show up, and they show up throughout the book. They are absolutely gorgeous. And honestly, this is what reminds me of Jeff Lemire's artwork a little bit. I'm not sure why. There's some creepy imagery through here, but it's really the scratchy black line art that I really enjoy because it really adds to the tone of the story that he's telling. You don't know what's real, what's not, what's made up. And I really like that. I like the state of confusion sometimes that books give me that give it a deeper read. Now, some people will look at it and go, not for me. I don't need anything that deep, or you're just looking into it too much. And I get that, right? You get the same thing with movies when people break down an artistic movie, and some people are like, yeah, that's not for me. I'm going to go watch Endgame. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. And I think, I like a variety of things, and when this landed on my lap, I thought, man, this was a really powerful read. This was something I was not expecting. Here's some more of that dreamlike sequence here. This mature content, because there's a lot of sexual content in here, and of course, talk of suicide and things like that. This is my first Gippy book that I've ever read, so I wonder if all his writings are like this, like if they're presented in this oddly scratchy style, and then we get these beautiful colors. But it's a nice flow. Even though it took me by surprise, I still kind of guess when the color pages were coming, once you get used to reading this particular book. This one retails for $22.99, and it has 144 pages. It is sewn binding, much like The Forest. But the cover here, it has a glossy finish to it, as you can probably tell right there. No dust jacket. It's just art on the board. Metax by Antoine Causet. So this is what the spine looks like. This has almost like a cloth finish to it, or I'm sorry, a leather feel to it, almost like a textbook from school. When I first saw this in the previews pages, whenever I do the upcoming collected editions, I thought this had like a glossy finish or almost like a shiny aluminum finish to it, but it is not. It's just part of the book, but it is embossed, as well as the Metax cover and the Antoine name down there. These are the kind of pictures you're going to find through here. So when I said surreal, I meant surreal. So Metax right here, Antoine Causet. And describing this is going to be pretty interesting because it took me, I didn't read the back. I had no idea what to expect. I kind of just jumped in. After reading the book, I read the back and I'm like, oh, okay, that would explain a little more towards the beginning. But sometimes with books like this, I just need to look at the artwork, read a little bit of the dialogue. And even though this book is 300 pages, this one retails, by the way, for $34.99, you'll see what I mean, why this one didn't take me, why I read this one faster than I did the My Badly Drawn Life book. Because there's hardly any dialogue. And there is some dialogue. A lot of the paintings here are all splash pages. And then you get some frames. So this is a really interesting story because it's about this city known as Ronin. And they have a big military, they have a king, they have engineers. And I'm not going to give away what exactly is happening towards the beginning, because I like people to figure this out. Because it took me, like I said, halfway through the book, it's all explained through there. What Metax is, why they're after it. And then you are asking yourself, wait, is it a mineral? Or is it a drug? What exactly is it? What are its powers? You see these kids right here that are wearing masks. And they remind me a lot of Lock, Shock, and Barrel from Nightmare Before Christmas. Those type of characters. You do have a king. You have this character named Wig. Wig is the one that explains everything. And these are the kind of pictures that are going to be found throughout this particular book. So it all feels like a dreamlike science fiction. Like you're so separated from this dystopian world. And Antoine gets the job done because that's what his paintings remind me of. You are going to find some color in here, but I'm not going to reveal those parts because those are pretty important to the plot of the story. So the plot is basically, like I said, there's a city, it's like a city-state called Ronin, and there is this mineral or this substance that they have that they've been digging for called the Metax. And Metax has different effects on people. Like, I didn't get at the beginning what the heck was happening, but it made sense later on. It does change some people, and I will just leave it at that. But the supply of Metax is running low, so that's what they're getting the engineers to do. And the engineers look like these creepy shadow creatures that are digging for, like these people right here, that are digging for this mineral. Remember that king that I talked about? Well, he has a daughter. Her name is Sabrina, and there are some twists and turns here as to who to trust and who not to trust. But this is the type of artwork that you're going to be finding through here. When I was talking about Gothi's art, where you don't know where the arm begins and the couch begins, or the arm ends and the couch begins, very similar to that. The bodies don't look like human bodies at times. Sometimes they are part of the land, and sometimes you don't know exactly what you're looking at. I read this twice. I really enjoyed it. It was a book that needed to be read twice. Once I understood exactly what was happening, I went back and looked at it and admired the artwork a lot more than I did the very first time. Because the first time I read it, I kind of want to get through the story. And that's usually what I do with comics, especially if it's artsy like this. But surreal, this is the type of artwork you're going to see in here. You are going to see some color, but the watercolors that you see here are the ones that are primarily used. Mature content because of a couple of scenes, unfortunately. Otherwise, this would have been fine for young adults. But absolutely mature content because of a couple of scenes. But this is Metax. Last but certainly not least, one of my favorite releases this year, Squeak the Mouse. I have been waiting for this book for years. So this is by Massimo Mattioli, and you see his name up there, Squeak the Mouse. So this is a lot of the inspiration for Ren and Stimpy or Itchy and Scratchy. At least that's what I've been told. I remember going on message boards and finding out about this book. So apparently they tried to localize this book in the 80s, but it is just so out there that they couldn't pass it through. And it is finally coming out. This is one that comes out in March, late March. So this is an advanced copy. Now, I can't show a lot of the artwork in here because it has a lot of sexual content. There's a lot of violence. So that's the kind of stuff I was expecting. I wasn't expecting the amount of detailed sexual content. So absolutely not for kids. This is completely adult material right here. But it's crazy. It feels like this is drug-induced, but I think it's just raunchy, right? That's the only way to describe it, and I loved it. This is absolutely up my alley when I need a break from the norm. Thrills, laughs, sex, and gore. Absolutely. That's the best way to describe it. This book is oversized, by the way. The pages are these thick, glossy pages. To kind of give you an idea, here it is compared to the size of an omnibus. So this is a Marvel omnibus. Here, let's do this. There we go. You see how much taller it is, how much longer it is. So it is a big book. Here, let's show some of the artwork in here. Cartoon violence, man. Woo! I got lucky there, turning it to that page. But this is the kind of stuff you're going to see in here. A lot of violence between this cat and mouse. For the first few pages, though, I didn't even see Squeak the mouse, and I got what they were doing later on. There's some real images in here, like from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, from other horror movies that they put in here in the panels. Let's go on to number 2, Creeps, Humor, Porn, Blood. So, yes, it is this constant struggle between cat and mouse, and these are the kind of crazy colors that they are using. Okay, yes, like these type of images is what you're going to be seeing in here. Honestly, I'm surprised they went with the glossy paper, because I thought artwork like this would show up better like in matte paper, like these type of colors, but I could be wrong. I've never owned this, and I'm not sure, you know, what previous editions have come out overseas, but this is the first time it's come out in English. Not that you need it to be translated, because there's hardly any dialogue. The book has 152 pages, retails for $29.99, and I gotta be careful where I turn, because sometimes you never know when you're gonna see a nip slip. And that is the most tamest thing you might see. Because like I said, detailed. Let's keep going here. And I keep repeating myself because I laid this out when I got the books. I had them out, and one of my daughters picked it up, and I was like, nope. Every time I get a new book from, it doesn't matter what publisher, I always have to look at it first, because you never know, you know, what to expect. I had a lot of fun with this one. It was great. It's so obscene and over the top. It just made me laugh a lot. But if you've been looking forward to this one, it is finally coming out in late March, like I said. No extras in the back. I wish they had some kind of article or some kind of interview with him. That would have been great. This is what the end sheet looks like there and there. And of course, the book does have sewn binding. And yes, sometimes you're going to see copyrighted characters appear through these panels. And that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing any of these books, don't forget to check out our sponsor. If you live in Europe and are interested in pre-ordering or purchasing Omnis, then you should definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices for Marvel and DC big books within the EU. Flat shipping of €9.90 for EU countries. Extremely careful and sturdy packaging. Emails are answered within 24 hours. And they have a superb selection of new releases and out-of-print books on their website. Just head over to waltscomicshop.com for more great deals and rare titles. And for a limited time, you can use the code nearmintcon, all one word, at the checkout for free shipping to all EU countries with your first order. Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for Omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your confirmation email from CGN, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of these particular hardcover collections. Let me know in the comments down below which one you have been waiting for, which ones you've heard about. For myself, I have been waiting to read Squeak the Mouse for so many years, and let's just say, it really took me by surprise. And if you have any questions, leave your questions down below. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, ring that bell for notifications to let you know when our videos are going live. We are on Spreadshop and Patreon, amazing ways to support the channel if you can do so. More importantly, everyone stay healthy, stay safe out there, much love.